Monday, happy days. Tuesday, Wednesday, happy days. Thursday, Friday, happy days. The weekend comes, my cycle hums, ready to race to you.
Hello and welcome to the Middlest. How y'all doing?
How's everyone doing out there? We can hear you, so go ahead and answer.
Yeah, we just talking to your headphones, and yep, that's great. Welcome to the Middlest, our Patreon-only show where we're discussing the exact Middlest episode, because lots of shows are cool and big and splashy, but
We want to see what they look like at their big middle.
at their big middle. Let's just see what sort of difference we notice in a middle-rated episode.
And we have found in the past that we have often enjoyed the middlest episode the most because the worst is obviously the worst, and the best is often like taking a big swing, so it's not an average episode of the show. And the middlest gives you a little more sense of like, oh, this is why people showed up week after week. This is what the show was basically trying to do.
And this episode that we're doing, this is our Happy Days episode, which is...
Season 7, episode 15, Wilderness.
And we discovered watching the Happy Days that all of the episodes felt similar in quality. Maybe just because they're both, all three of them are so anachronistic that it was hard for us to interpret quality, but you know.
Which is funny because one of the pitches for why they should do a sitcom set in the 50s was that reruns wouldn't feel dated.
So
there you go.
They're all just so dated and the quality is just so different than the television we're used to consuming that they all seem the same to me.
Yeah, as I said in the main one, it's gotta find my middle.
They are all stylistically very different though, because one of them is a very like early days of the show nostalgia Christmas episode.
Yeah.
One of them is a later days of the show heavily featuring Chachi, very silly,
very Looney Tunes,
Looney Tunes. And then this middle one is like very standard farcy comedy.
Yeah, it's basically a farce. It's the same season as the worst one, the Looney Tunes ones. We're definitely in the like silly era of the show, but there's no like supernatural happenings. There's no like big cartoony stuff. It is just classic farce stuff.
It's just people getting hit with things, tents collapsing, people dating comedy, things happening with, is it Potsy? It's not Potsy, it's the other one. What's his name? Ralphie?
God, I don't know.
And his girlfriend.
Edie Falco.
She has a lisp because she has a retainer.
Yeah, there's they really milk how funny it is when people have a lisp. Most of the verbal comedy in this episode is that it's hilarious when people have a lisp.
Basic plot of this episode is it's time for them to go on their friend's vacation trip, and Richie wants to go camping, and everyone else is like, nah, dude, can we do something that doesn't suck? And he's like, no, we're doing it. And then the Fonz is like, I could really use a chance to get away. Can I come with you guys? And Richie's like, no, because if you come, then you're going to be cool and you're going to be the leader. And I want to be cool and I want to be the leader. And Fonz is like, I'll come and I'll back off. And so they go out into the woods and they go camping. But it turns out that, Richie trying to be the leader, he's really struggling.
He puts up the tents wrong. They don't have enough
food. They can't make a fire. It's raining. It's an uncomfortable time. And Fonz is just sort of biting his lip, being like, I'm not trying to step in and make this work. Which is actually, it's kind of interesting thinking about the history of the show at this point, because this show was created in a lot of ways to feature Ron Howard and have Richie be the star. And then when it was, reworked and the Fonz was given more to do, it really became the show about Fonzie. And so this episode is really interesting to see Richie like, no, but if you're going to be there, then I don't get to be the guy. And then Fonzie's like, all right. So, yeah, it is interesting. Although I do think that I can't speak to this. I don't know what the exact relationship was between, but it seemed like Ron Howard was kind of real classy about it and got that, like, people really liked Fonzie and he really liked...
My understanding is they were good friends.
Yeah.
I don't think there was, like...
I think he was just sort of like, I think he was like, it's cool. This is what the show is. Like, it didn't start out this way, but it's what the show is. And he stayed through the end of his contract. He didn't try to get out of it. Like, he did his... How many seasons did he do? I think he did 7 seasons.
I mean, it didn't turn out bad for him.
Yeah,
you know.
Well, yeah, Ron Howard had a career before that, and he had a big career after that. So
I mean, the interesting thing is Ron Howard had ultimately a much bigger career than Henry Winkler.
Yes, but the Fonz had a much bigger lasting life.
Oh yeah, no one knows who Richie is.
Yeah,
like that's
you didn't even know his name in the last episode we did. You were like, "What's his name?" So.
Yeah, and it's simple. It's because I don't know anyone's name.
Sit on it, Potsy. We didn't even talk about Sit on it, Potsy in the main episode. That's why you're here in the Middlest to talk about Sit on it, Potsy, which, if I am remembering correctly, was the name of a ska band in New Jersey in the early 2000s.
That sounds like both ska and New Jersey.
Couldn't find any reference of it on the internet. But then again, when you search things on the internet, you don't find shit anymore. So
Yeah. My local band was a pop punk band called Calcutta that we all really thought was going to make it. They had a song on one of the Tony Hawk games. It really was like, these guys are going to be huge. And then it just didn't happen. I think most of them are doctors now, so things turned out well for them.
yeah. And for all of their patients.
And for all of their patients who are being treated because they're not currently doing a tour with Blink-182, the like nostalgia reunion tour.
Yep.
And that's it for our preview of our Middlest. To support the show, get us close to breaking even. And we've decided that if we break even, by the way, we will celebrate by covering Breaking Bad. So get us to breaking even and we will break bad. To do all that, support us on Patreon. The link is in the show notes, and it gets you ad-free versions of the episode and access to all our Middlest episodes, and helps pay for the cost of the show. All right, see you next week with The West Wing.